A woman accidentally found a man standing in the sky. She thought it was her own eyes. She didn't think she'd see it again. There's really a guy who doesn't want to die. He's walking on the top floor of a skyscraper. It's a 500-meter abyss under his feet. After a gust of wind blew over his pants, the balance pole in the man's hand also trembled. But he didn't panic, but he smiled. The scariest thing is that he doesn't have any protection measures. As soon as he slips, he'll fall to his knees. At this point, the more people watching the show, they're all holding their necks and staring at this lunatic. The man was about to walk halfway, and he was about to hit the fixed button. As a result, he found someone who was missing his eyes and put the button back on. As soon as he stepped on it, he had to go see the old man every minute. He stood there and thought for a while. In the end, he still bit his teeth and took that step. After he stepped on his right foot, he slowly moved his left foot with his waist. When he was safe, the man's tense face finally relaxed. But the next second, he felt unchallenged again. He was too slow to go one step at a time. So he took a big step straight to the South Tower. The audience below was completely stunned. The man was lying on the steel floor. Halfway through, he thought of a more exciting move. He slowly slid his injured right foot back. The blood stained the shoes and hurt his teeth, but he still pressed his knees on the steel. After a few hundred meters of high-altitude play, he knelt down. This operation took everyone by surprise. After a while, he stood up. He looked at the audience with satisfaction. Unexpectedly, 2 police officers suddenly came out. He took off his gloves without saying a word. He pulled his throat and asked him to roll up quickly. He saw the police controlling his companion. The man immediately went back. Unexpectedly, the next second, he suddenly stopped walking. His mouth was smiling. He raised the balance pole directly to his head. Before everyone could react, he turned around again. He shook the police off. Then he raised the pole back to the most dangerous position. The scariest thing about walking on the steel is to look down. He not only looked down, but also knelt down directly. Then everyone noticed that. Shuangxi was kneeling on the thin steel. He slowly opened his arms and looked back. He was hanging in the air for hundreds of meters. He enjoyed the pleasure of playing with his life. All the people under him held their breath. They were afraid that he would fall down as soon as he made a sound. Soon, a few police officers came up from the South Tower. At this moment, the man had completely let go of himself. He took off the balance pole and jumped on the steel. The police pulled his throat to warn him. He just nodded. He turned around and walked to the North Tower. The police on both sides stared at him. His knife pissed him off. He threw the balance pole directly on the steel. He put on a particularly arrogant look. Shuangxi held his chest and stared at the police. The wind blew his right leg straight, but he still stepped on the pole with one leg. At this time, the streets under 500 meters were full of people. Many people came to see the fun. However, he suddenly noticed that the clouds in the sky were particularly low. It was about to rain. He was going back. As a result, the screw on the lock suddenly broke. The man almost fell off. The audience below was also frightened by this scary scene. Screams echoed. At this critical moment, the helicopter came to the scene. It urged the man to come down quickly. The cold wind blew. His injured foot had moved. The blood kept coming out. If he didn't deal with it, he would die. He had to hold on tight. He slowly moved back on the steel lock. Every step was like dancing on the tip of a knife. The audience below didn't dare to come out. It was hard to reach the edge of the building. It was safe at first glance. Unexpectedly, his legs suddenly shook. The lock also made a terrible sound. It was about to explode. Everyone's hearts sank to their throats. In the blink of an eye, his foot was miraculously stable, and he showed a strange smile to the police. Unexpectedly, he was going to sit on his back again. He threw the balance pole forward. Then he made a high-pitched self-introduction. The police put on his handcuffs. They pushed him to the police station, but he didn't care at all because everyone in the street was cheering for him.